Hello, welcome back to another episode. So if you haven't watched the one which I'm going to put up in that corner now, we did a big mega build, which is the big one I've ever done, for a colleague and friend of mine, Roland, which we are now kind of back to here. So basically, what we needed to do from the original build is, with the H150i all-in-one that we got here, we put in, although it's sold as an RGB all-in-one, the only bit that is actually RGB out of the box is the actual block itself. The fans are not. So we didn't know that at the time, and with the kind of the RGB theme that we're going with this, it kind of made sense, and Roland wanted to as well, is to upgrade to the Corsair SP120 Pros. These are the same ones, if you've seen the build that I did recently for mine, I've got into the same case. So they're also 120mm, which are the same as the three in here currently. So what we're going to be able to do is literally take these three straight out, put these into place. It comes with an actual RGB node, so we can hook the fans into there with the RGB, and we also got some splitters, which again, these are what I used on mine, so it takes you from up to 3 fans into one actual power header on the motherboard itself, rather than trying to find and locate 3 headers to power the fans. So that's the main task we've got to do. We've also got to have a look at the two 200mm RGB fans on the front of the thermal tape case, because they have their own kind of RGB node on the side or behind the motherboard tray, and it's not quite hooked up properly. Now, I'm certainly to blame for that. The first time we're using a thermal tape case, so I just need to have a look and make sure we can get those hooked in, so maybe we can get some kind of colour coordination in here, rather than what it does now is you hit the RGB button and it reboots the computer. Because, and I learnt, and I'll explain this later on, the reset switch you get on the motherboard, which is going to be very hard for you to see. So these down here are where the reset switch, the PLED and the power switch are. So the reset switch actually is the one that you plug into the back of the RGB node of the case, and that controls the change of the actual fans, the pattern and the colour. So whenever Roland was hitting the RGB button here, it was rebooting the computer. So we need to switch that around, and then finally, if you remember from this clip here, right, so while we're just letting this do what it's got to do, it's I'm basically still transferring the data from the mechanical driver to the SSD. Apparently it's going to take more than a day to do the final bits. I reckon they've just kind of configured Windows files, because I think he had the operating system on that one before, and if you've transferred operating systems onto different drives before, you will know that it keeps temporary Windows.old files, I think it's called, as a folder. So I reckon it could be that, so I'll just leave that running for a minute just to see if it kind of sorts itself out. The hard drive that was originally in the first build, which is a Western Digital 3.5 inch, Roland had all his data on there, so we switched that and transferred it over to one of the SSDs on board here, because it's all solid state in here now. It stuck, it got frozen, but it got frozen on the Windows.old files, which we believed was at the end of the actual process, and it just wouldn't transfer those, which is fine, it's no big deal, but it turns out that that may not be the case, and there's still some data we need to get off there. So that's pretty much what we got to do. It shouldn't take us long, and it's safe to say we've got plenty of room to work in with this case. It is literally a builder's dream to work in, so let's get into it.
Take me far away, where the walls come down and the heart takes over, asking you to stay for another round. Oh, the game feels
So that should be everything all kind of connected and rewired and kind of sorted out now. So we've now swapped over the original fans that came with the H150 with the SP120 RGBs. Those are now connected into the fan headers that come with it as a splitter on the all-in-one to power them. And then the RGB node, which is connected to the back, and then obviously that's powered through to the motherboard itself. We've also just gone around and done a bit more kind of cable management, just kind of neated up the comb, cable tied underneath, and we're sitting around the back, just kind of neatened everything up a little bit. So I think now is the main test if we're going to get this over here onto the ground, get it wired up, and fingers crossed and see if the fans work, and make sure when we press the RGB button it doesn't reset the computer this time. So let's check it out. So we've got it all connected into everything where Roland has it. That's why we're down low to the ground, that's where it all is. So now hopefully when we press the button we should have everything work as it should, because we never go wrong, there's never anything at fault. Those should now light up and we should have all the RGB goodness, so fingers crossed. Let's find out. Hey! Well, that's a good start. That is definitely a good start. So they've got the fans working on the front. We've now got an awesome all-in-one. I love this all-in-one. I'm going to have to look at an H150 for mine, because that looks friggin' awesome. Absolutely awesome. So obviously these are the IQ ones, so we can pair that with the RAM, with the Corsair block, so we can get it all in pattern. He's also got a Corsair keyboard, which we can all get that linked in and synchronised. So it does matter where you plug these into the node in sync. So we've got them starting from 1, 2 and 3. It's kind of similar to the way the RAM normally kind of flickers down when you've got the specific setting. So the big test now is whether we can change these front fans here. So if you come around the front, and we'll have a look and see if pressing this is actually going to reboot the computer or if it's going to keep it on. And that changed. Right, okay, so first time round, it turns out that we didn't quite put the fan connections into the right place of the node. It seems they work similar to the Corsair ones, where you've got to put them in sync. If you were to put, say, fan header 1, 2, 3, and you skip number 2, it would actually cut the connection to one of them, so we only had the bottom one running. But now, as you can see, we actually have both the 200mm fans working with the RGB. We can press the button and go through the modes. At the moment, we kind of like the way it's set up here, or Roland likes the colours set up here, so we'll leave this as it is. But we finally got them up and running and working, which is brilliant, because that wasn't actually as easy as I thought it would be. Right, so I think we set with a colour theme. I actually really like the choice where it's gone with. It's like almost like a really nice kind of deep purple. But basically, because there's kind of the way that we set the radiator up and everything else, it's very hard to use moving lights like the wave or the rainbow or visor, purely because obviously these fans, the way they're synchronised, they don't necessarily understand the location where they are in the case. So it just wasn't syncing very well. So a static colour just kind of gives it a really nice finish, is what I've gone with mine, which is like a white ice blue. We've got it on same on the front, whereas it's a bit more of a pattern on the front fans, which kind of gives it a nice finish as well. And I think that's everything kind of complete. So we've got the new RGB fans up on the radiator. It's amazing how much of a difference that's made, considering kind of the fact that they didn't come with those originally. We've got it all set up on there. We've got the front ones working properly, and as far as I'm aware, I think Roland's happy with it. So we're going to do some final bits with the hard drive, but I won't bore you with that because that's just some data transfer. But I think for another video, we're complete. Stay tuned, because this weekend I'll be doing another build for a friend of mine, which the video will probably be out mid next week. So you're probably watching this one probably around the weekend time now, to be honest. So basically, stay tuned. In a couple of days, we'll do another video. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed it. Like and subscribe for more. Comment, let me know what you think. If you've got any ideas, any plans, any suggestions, let me know. I'm always willing to listen and to respond. And that's it. So thanks for watching, and I'll hopefully see you all on the next one.